This is Small Business Big World, our weekly podcast prepared by the team at Paper Trails. Owning and running a small business is hard. Each week, we'll dive into the challenges, headaches, trends, fun, and excitement of running a small business. After all, small businesses are the heartbeat of America, and our team is here to keep them beating. Welcome to Small Business Big World, our weekly podcast where we talk about all of the fun and exciting and sometimes the miserable and scary and challenging things about doing business as a small business owner or manager. Welcome this week, John Portanova, who is our, what are you?
Marketing director, I think.
I
Unless
think
you have some breaking news for me.
Marketing. I don't know.
Hey,
I don't know.
there you go.
Some
That
fancy
sounds
title.
official.
So John is our marketing director here at Paper Trails, and we're going to talk about search engine optimization today, and mostly a lot about our journey, the things we've learned, and hopefully how you can use those in your business, right?
It's kind of maybe a boring topic, but a very important topic for small businesses, for sure.
I think a lot of folks don't know anything about it.
I will say
we didn't, right?
Right. We'll get into this more, but here we are almost 3 years into the journey. And before I started at Paper Trails, I couldn't tell you what SEO was, search engine optimization, but we'll get into that pretty soon here.
And before we get into that, this is my cue to tell you to like, follow, share, rate, review, subscribe. We are on every single stinking social media platform, maybe except the Chinese ones. I don't know. Johnny might.
Well, soon enough, we won't be on some of them, apparently.
Uh-oh. Why?
Well, TikTok is getting banned, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
No, I don't follow the news too much, but something about TikTok and
Well, if TikTok gets banned, we won't be on TikTok.
Right.
But everything else,
For now we
else, Instagram, Facebook. Find us on Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeart. Where else? John, you publish this every week.
Castbox, YouTube, everywhere.
All right, that's where we are.
I think you got the big ones, though.
And if you find a burning question after this episode or any episode, please feel free to email us at podcast@papertrails.com. We're happy to get back to you or get you in the right direction for a resource. So, all right, SEO, John, what is it?
SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. It's really the process of optimizing your website and all of your online content to increase your visibility in search engines like Google.
Please, the Google gods.
Exactly. The Google gods, that's the biggest one. There's others, Bing and so forth, but Google is the main one of probably 90% of the people use it out there. It simply just kind of boils down to doing things behind the scenes to increase your rankings on Google. Like I said, before this journey, I don't think I really understood what SEO was, but I was on Google almost every day. And when you search for something on Google, of course, there's a list of things that pop up. But what SEO is the things that go on behind the scenes to rank those results in a specific order.
And what if I still use Ask Jeeves?
Ask Jeeves, you're probably on.
Am I using AOL? Do I have an AOL email?
Yep, AOL, AIM, whatever it was back then. But Google is the way to go now for sure.
So talk to me about what factors influence that, right?
Yep. So there's so many ranking factors. Google recently just came out with their new algorithm. The algorithm's a big thing, right? So there's 14,000 ranking factors. Apparently, Google's been lying to us about some of these that they say they weren't important, but they actually
had a big leak, right?
There was a big
algorithm
leak.
got leaked.
It was a whole thing, and here we are. And I think it's important to know about what some of these factors are and to use them to try to rank better. So, not to get too much now, we'll get into it a little bit later, but there's kind of 3 areas: on-page SEO, off-page SEO, and technical SEO. So each one of those categories has specific things that help your content rank better in Google.
So if I want to rank number 1 on Google, right? You search Paper Trails or payroll, right?
Yep.
What do we have to do that?
Sure. So it all starts with keywords. So keywords are a specific query that you would type into Google, whether that be a short keyword like payroll or a longer key phrase like main payroll company. So the thing is, you have to first find what keyword you want to rank for. Once you have that, when you are on your website and you're creating a page, whether it's a blog post or a service page, you have to optimize your site or your page for that keyword. So things that go into that, we'll start with on-page SEO. That's things like your title tags. So what you want to do is, for example, we'll use main payroll company. This is one of the big things we want to rank for here at Paper Trails. The title of our article would be, what is the best main payroll company? So that's your title tag. You want to make sure you use that key phrase. Another thing would be your meta description. That is kind of what pops up on Google underneath the title tag. A quick description of what that article or page is about. Make sure you're using your keyword in that meta description. Then we get into a little bit more nitty gritty things like heading tags on that page. You want to break up your content into different sections, shorter sections on the page itself. And each of those heading tags should also contain the keyword or a variation of that keyword. Then we're going to get into things like internal linking. You want to make sure you're linking to other pages on your website. You want to make sure that you have alt text, which means that on your image on your page, you're putting in a little description of the image, and in that description, again, make sure you're using your keyword. So those are some on-page SEO things that help factor into your ranking on Google. There's other technical stuff we'll get into a little bit later, but those are the...
Well, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot right in
Sorry,
itself,
just
right?
a lot of rambling, but these are the things we've learned that have helped us improve our rankings on Google. And, some of the pages may not be right up number one, but,
because all keywords are not created equal, right? That's
Correct.
the other thing, right? Just because you want to rank for, best payroll company in Maine doesn't mean that you're going to, right?
Right. So now we're getting into keyword difficulty and doing some keyword research. So again, I don't want to get too technical here, but like there's certain keywords and you can look on certain tools online and to see how many people are trying to rank for that keyword, the difficulty, and it would be more difficult if an ADP or a Paychex wants to rank for that word because they have a higher domain authority because they're a bigger company. There's so much that goes into it, but doing some keyword research and knowing which keywords you want to rank for and which ones are a little bit easier will help you rank a little bit higher on Google.
Right. You said that, so we talked about the on-page stuff. What's the off-page?
Yep.
SEO?
So off-page SEO will include things like backlinks, which means other websites are linking back to your website. So if the topic is payroll taxes, maybe we want Maine Business to link one of their articles on their page back to papertrails.com, their page about payroll taxes, and that helps create your backlink strategy. And then once you have more backlinks, your domain authority will rise. So that'll help increase your off-page SEO. Another off-page SEO thing is Google My Business. So it's really important to kind of claim your Google My Business profile. When you go on Google, you can go on mybusiness.google.com, and then you can claim your business. You can upload your hours. You can upload pictures of your company. You can change your products and your services on there. So those things will also factor into your off-page SEO.
And that Google listing is free, right? You can use
It
it
is,
to promote
yeah.
yourself.
Definitely,
You can put
all
pictures,
businesses out there,
promotions,
go out,
links. Yeah,
yeah.
it's free. Go do it because
100%.
And what's the number one thing people ask in all the stupid Facebook groups is so-and-so restaurant open this week?
Well,
Right?
that's my biggest pet peeve is going to a restaurant that says on Google that they're open, till 8 p.m. and you show up at 7:30 and we've been closed for 2 hours, whatever it is. It's so frustrating.
Right.
So
make sure you
claim that,
update,
yeah,
make sure
100%.
your hours are on there, right? Because if someone Googles what time does John's favorite restaurant close and it says it's open till 9 and he gets there at 8:30, he's going to be pissed.
I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be hungry. My wife's not going to be happy. It's going to be a whole thing.
So, that's the off-page stuff. What about, how does the other social media stuff tie into that?
So if you're talking about, anything Instagram, Facebook, they all have kind of their own SEO, search engine optimization factors too. So, on your Instagram profile, you want to put what category your business is in. So for us, we would use Maine Payroll as our kind of category. That would help people that are searching for payroll on Instagram. So the same kind of factors in your description, making sure you're using the keywords. So social is kind of similar to Google in terms of that SEO, those ranking factors.
Well, and Google takes into account even a little bit, perhaps, what you're doing on social, right? If you have a lot of engagement on social, that, again, it's kind of like those backlinks, right? It builds your brand authority.
Correct.
And your domain authority.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
There's another piece. So on page, off page, what about technical SEO?
Technical SEO is, I will just say right off the bat, I think is something that we're both learning a little bit more about every day. That includes things like your site structure, meaning you want to make it easier for Google to crawl your website so they know what information you have on your website. So putting, just say your blog in the navigation bar at the top would be better than putting it under 3 different drop downs. So Google is easily able to crawl the page and understand what it's about and then help you rank higher for that specific keyword.
One of the things that we've found is, I think we went through our journey in the last couple of years is we've worked on a lot of the on-page, some of the off-page, and now we're kind of getting into more of the technical pieces of it. We found that our website was not quite built in a way that Google likes, right? So we're in the process now of not totally redesigning, but we have to fix the foundation that the website was built on.
Correct.
To fix that and please the Google gods. We also found that, I feel like my whole life, right, a JPEG has been what I know, right? That's the image. That's our, on computer image. Well, now we have like WebP files, which I think have just come out in the last couple of years, or if it's just become more prevalent in the last couple of years, but those are a lot smaller and in terms of file size.
Correct.
So when you're loading it on your phone or on the computer, those are, if it's loading slower, Google's like, oh, gosh,
right.
Because I don't even know what the statistic is. I probably could make it up, but it's like if you don't capture someone's attention within like 0.7 seconds, they're going to go somewhere.
That might even be too long, right?
Right. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's the same. I know there's big statistics out there, but
yep. And those WebP files, like you said, like they're smaller, so it makes your page load faster. And page speed is one of the 14,000 ranking factors that Google has. So anything you can do to increase that technical side of your website to help user experience, page speed, all those type of things, click-through rates will help overall increase your SEO.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the things that we did a year or so ago now is we kind of did our own SEO audit, right? Where you went through every page, looked at all this, mostly the on-page stuff, right? That was the heading tags, the headers, the descriptions, the alt text, all that stuff.
And I would say that just quickly, that's probably a little bit easier for small business owners who are busy. Those things are a little bit quicker to fix and a little bit less technical. So if you don't have kind of that SEO knowledge, those are the easier things to fix, which will really significantly help.
Right. And it did help us. And we saw 100%. Great traction until 6 or 7 months ago.
Right.
And we started to see things nosedive. And then, so now we've engaged with a really technical heavy SEO consultant. They did their own SEO audit on us. We found a couple little tiny, on-page things, but the rest of it was the page speed. It was the backlinks. It's the structure of our website is not designed in a way that Google prefers. So now we're working to fix some of those things with the more, getting deeper down the rabbit hole in hopes of building those rankings back up, right?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
What, we're big on content. We did a content marketing episode. Certainly that's a big thing for us here. What are, even for other businesses, what kind of content should people be putting out there? If you're a restaurant, right? What do you want to do in terms of that? Maybe you're not writing a blog post, twice a week about how to cook a hamburger.
Sure.
But what can they do to really attract
those types of businesses? Wouldn't necessarily, like you said, be writing blog articles, but you still want to make sure that your homepage is, optimized for Google in terms of ranking for, if you're an, Thai restaurant, you want to make sure that you rank you're here in Kennebunk, you want to make sure that you're ranking high for Kennebunk Thai food. And using those keywords on your homepage. Videos, I would say, are really, really important for restaurants. Shooting videos of the chef cooking the food, the server, serving the food, bartenders making drinks, and then optimizing those videos for social to have someone who is searching for Thai food, Kennebunk, Thai food Maine, pop up on their Instagram.
Right, and that's been that's another piece of the algorithm that the 14,000 factors, right, is video.
Correct.
Is they now almost expect you to have video on your pages because that's what consumers want.
Yep. And it goes back to kind of that user experience, I think, on the page because, with shorter attention spans nowadays, no one's necessarily sitting there reading a page that has 10,000 words. They're looking for a short video to know what that page is about, know what the next steps are, things like that.
So we've done our audit, we've done our fixes. We're keeping, we're trying to build more traffic and more leads and people to the website. What other tools are we using to measure our SEO success, I guess?
Yeah, so we personally use HubSpot is our CRM tool. I use this keyword and SEO tool called SEMrush or SEMrush. And what that does is going back to the keyword rankings, I can see what keywords are difficult to rank for, who's trying to rank for them, who are ranking 1, 2, and 3 for them. And then once we, have our page and we give it a couple months to rank and get some stats behind it, we can go back in and use these tools to see where now our article or our page is ranking on that list on Google. We can see if our organic traffic has increased to our website or that page overall. We can see where people are clicking on what page and what forms they're submitting to reach out to us. So we can use these tools to, do that analyzation.
Yeah, those types of softwares are really great tools for us to really be going through and saying, okay, evaluating what pages are working, what pages aren't working. Maybe we need to tweak one or update one or adjust one. We use the Google Search Console, right? That's another one.
GA4, Google Analytics 4 is a free one for people to use if they're using Google My Business, and same thing. They can see their organic traffic, what pages people are interacting with, those kind of things.
So I can tell you, we're the little old payroll company in Maine, and we use a software called iSolved, which other companies like us around the country use, and we do a lot of, we're big on educating and helping our clients. So one of our most popular pages is the help page, right? So we have papertrails.com/help, which helps all of our clients and their employees log in to iSolved, and we get submissions multiple times a week from
definitely.
Joey, who works at McDonald's in Wisconsin, not able to log into iSolved.
Yep.
And unfortunately, we have to say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. You need to go to your employer and go to your payroll company to help with that. But, it does work, right? We're attracting traffic. We rank higher for iSolved login help than iSolved itself.
Right. Yeah. It just goes to show you how SEO works, because we have a help page, and on that help page, we're putting, iSolved help as the keyword. We're putting videos on there to help people log in, reset their password, those kind of things. But all of these videos are optimized for those keywords, which helps us rank higher than, like you said, even the iSolved company themselves.
Right. We had it this week. We had a guy from Pennsylvania submit a request on the website. He was watching one of our timekeeping videos, and he goes, "Hey, I use iSolved, and I can't get an answer to this question. Maybe you can help me. I really appreciate your videos." And we saw he's watched every single video we've posted. He was really engaged, and not a client of ours, but certainly, we responded back and said, "Hey, first of all, go back to who you work with, but here's what our experience is and what can be set up and what can't be set up."
It was funny because I was talking to Jeff, our sales guy, who called this particular business, and the business submitted this form because he actually thought we were iSolved. So because we ranked higher on Google than they did. So it's just, again, it really has helped increase our organic traffic and just get our name out there.
Right. I mean, even things, we've seen some really big leads come through. I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars in recurring revenue has been driven now through our website and John has goals on that, right? He's gets stressed out every time we talk about it. He's got hives right now, I think, just thinking about it. But we have goals for that, right? We have goals to be able to say, hey, we want to bring in, leads from the website and qualified leads and so forth. So, and this is one of the ways that we do that.
Yeah. And I think, we're talking about this company that we've been trying to work with now. They talked about that your website should almost produce more business than your top,
The salesperson that never sleeps. Right?
Exactly. The salesperson that never sleeps. So it takes some time to set up these things in the front end, and it's very important to keep on them and updating them as they go. But once you kind of have it set up, the system's kind of there, and then you produce content, and that content generally will rank higher because you have that system in place, and it's that salesperson that never sleeps.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's a lot of work, right? I mean, you spend lots and lots of time on this.
Yes, it's basically my whole day every day.
Right. Not only producing the content, but also, editing and adjusting the website and optimizing the website for these types of things. And certainly we are totally self-taught, right? I mean, we've followed a few guys on Instagram. We've taken a few classes. We're reading, we're discovering, we're just figuring it out on our own. And there are some things that we've run up against that we don't have the expertise to fix. And we've had to engage somebody else in that. But I think we've learned that we know what we don't know, right? Or we don't know what we don't know, but we know we're not smart enough to fix what we don't know. So we've been working on engaging with some folks to help us with that too.
No, and I think it's important for small businesses out there to, just take some time at least to try to work on some of these practices and optimize their website. And I know if you don't have a marketing department on your team, or you're a busy small business owner, it's tough to find 40 hours a week like I do to do this SEO stuff.
You don't work 40 hours a week.
I said 4 hours a week.
Yeah.
To do this SEO stuff, and but if you can do just that 4 hours a week, then
unless you got the thing that moves your mouse around and keeps you active all day. Did you get that on TikTok?
I found a thing I can bring my laptop into the golf cart.
Oh,
yeah, and it puts
you've brought it to the beach before too. We got that.
Oh,
got that picture one time.
I got them all. Yeah. I'm actually more productive in those scenarios.
Work
sometimes.
from home. Work from home.
Home is anywhere I want it to be.
So we've been really successful in this, and certainly it has been a journey. It's been a couple of years we've been working through this, and I will say, again, we've seen really good results. We've had some lulls in this. In our industry, the keywords are expensive to advertise for. Our keywords are very popular, right? There's a lot of competition in our industry with some Fortune 500 companies that that have teams of people that do what John does. And I think for most businesses, even just getting the basics right, because you're a local business, right? Again, Thai restaurant in Kennebunk, right? If you've got your basic SEO stuff down, that's going to keep the Google gods happy.
Right. And
for us,
much easier to rank for, right?
Right, much easier to rank for, right? For us, and you're not looking for people outside of that area. For us, we have a larger geographic reach that we're looking to to attract.
Correct.
Which again plays into some of the other how we write articles and how we build our website and how we manage that. And so we have to look like the authority to Google on these things, and we have to be perfect because again, the Fortune 500 companies that have teams of people doing this are first of all have way bigger budgets, right? And they're really good at it. So we have to, we have to be not only just be really good at providing our service, but we have to be better at
well, and the nice thing about this for us is I'm not going to say it's free because of course you got to pay me and these marketing companies we're working with, but it's a more organic approach. And in these bigger Fortune 500 companies have millions of dollars to pay per month for the word payroll on Google. And those
it's like $25 per click.
Yeah. Right.
On Google Ads for the word payroll.
Right.
We don't
10 clicks a day, $2,500 a day. It adds up.
Right. $250 a day.
You said, yeah. Whatever the math is.
Yeah.
But it adds
good
up.
Thing you're the marketing guy.
not the accountant.
Yeah. But no, seriously, I mean, we don't do any ads, right? Because one, it's really expensive for what we want to rank for. And we tried to think about that. We said, okay, what are some keywords that we can try to use for ads? Like what are things that people are searching for that are less expensive? And we spent a few grand and we didn't really get anything out of that either.
Well, and it kind of goes back to that keyword research is it was a little bit cheaper, but the volume, no one was really searching for those words. So we got very few results out of those ads. Yeah.
We thought we were getting smart, but we
kind of hurt ourselves a little bit, I think, in that.
Well, we just wasted $5,000 but we learned. So, what are the SEO mistakes that we've learned that people should avoid?
One thing, and we talked about, using those keywords as much as you can, make sure you're not keyword stuffing, meaning you're just writing an article about main payroll and every third word is main payroll. Google doesn't like that. It wants creative, but it wants educational content. Google ranks things based on this acronym EAT, E-E-A-T, which is expertise, education, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So those 4 things go into each thing that Google looks for to rank. So if you're better in each of those categories, you'll rank higher. So if you're just keyword stuffing over and over and over, they're not going to take that as trustworthiness content. They're just going to, kind of brush that aside and that one won't rank. So that's kind of one mistake. Another mistake to avoid would be, and it kind of goes back to the Google EEAT, but is producing irrelevant content. Again, you want to make sure that your content is educational, is relevant, is up to date with the latest information out there. Talking about the backlinking strategy, you don't want to buy backlinks or you don't want to buy reviews even. Google will kind of flag those as, bot backlinks, bot reviews, and kind of punish you. Actually, will hurt yourself if you do that. Another thing would be to just doing it all once at the beginning and then thinking you're all set for the next 3 years. You got to make sure you're constantly updating. Google's algorithm is constantly updating. So you got to make sure we keep those Google gods happy. So I think those are kind of the
other things. Everyone wants the beautiful website. One of the things we've found is like everyone really wants this really beautiful website, but it gets clunky and it's slow to load. And if it's very graphically driven, if Google can't read what you're putting because it's in an image or something like that, that's not going to help either. Right?
Yeah,
we found that. Right?
Yeah, it goes back to that technical piece. Make sure that you're not kind of your structure of your website's not jumping all over the place. You got images on the left and on the right and at the top and all that. Like the structure needs to be good and Google needs to be able to read it. It's huge. Yep. Page speed, user experience, everything factors in. But these are mistakes. Like we're not worried about user experience. We're worried about making it look pretty. So that's something you kind of want to avoid as well.
Well, I think nowadays in our website, right, we hired a great great marketing agency to build us a beautiful website, which they did, but they didn't take into account much of the SEO stuff and the structure of the website. Right. And that, has hurt us or did hurt us and it's continuing to hurt us, we think, in part of that. So we're having to invest in managing that.
Right. And I think that would be one more mistake would be, especially if you're beginning this journey, would be kind of start small with your local SEO. And we touched about it briefly, but local SEO is ranking for things in your local or your close-knit community. So going back to that Kennebunk tie, if you're adding the word Kennebunk to your keyword, then you're ranking locally for that keyword.
Right, so just put it in your meta description. Just put it on your website. Just say, hey, listen, we're a Thai food restaurant.
So at first we were trying to rank for payroll and HR. And now we've learned that we should try to be ranking for main payroll and HR. It's going to, narrow down that community, but you're also going to be able to rank higher because there's less competition for that. Right. And those are, for us, that's the business we want. Definitely for restaurants, you want that local business. But I think for most small businesses, you're kind of looking for business in your general area.
Sure.
So that's definitely a huge mistake, is to go too big,
So what's your goals here for in the short term for our SEO stuff? What do we?
So I think would be
Where are we headed, I guess?
Yeah, well, continue to optimize the site. Like, now that we've learned some of these technical things, I've been, working on updating our page at a time. It takes a little bit, but that's one immediate goal, is just to optimize all of those pages. And then hopefully by doing that is going to be increasing our ranking for certain keywords we want to rank for, maybe narrowing some of those keywords down too, and really focusing on certain important ones to us as opposed to too many of them. And then seeing if our organic traffic is going to be increasing. We're seeing a couple thousand people a day. It'd be nice to see 10,000 people a day, and having them, directed to the pages where it's going to bring us new business, our services pages, our pricing pages, as opposed to just that help page that you talked about. Again, not that traffic is bad traffic, but so those are just some, I would think, immediate goals. I don't know if you have any more for me, but.
No, I think that's all the stuff we're working on.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Right.
And those ultimately lead more traffic, more better keyword rankings, ultimately lead to more business opportunities.
Sure. Right. And I mean, again, it also builds our standing as experts, in the industry, right?
And
I
with
think
our current clients.
with our current clients, is we have a ton of resources out there that we use that also help the current clients, right? I mean, I used it yesterday. We had, 3 clients. 'Tis the season here in Maine where everyone's got their temporary, foreign workers coming in. And, John created a really great article about the different visa types and the different restrictions and requirements for each visa type. And, I sent that to 3 clients this week because they're asking the question. So here we go. Here's the answer, right? Go take a look at this. Here's everything you need to know. So that is also really good for in-house use.
Yeah, definitely. Just use your content, for both your sales and your service teams. You're doing it for a reason. You make sure you're using it in all the ways you can.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, good. Well, SEO is certainly a minefield, right?
I think we just barely scratched the surface here today, but I think it was just a good overview for small businesses to kind of focus in on these certain areas.
If we've piqued people's interest, how can they get in touch with you to answer any of their questions?
Podcast at papertrails.com.
Oh, geez.
Or John, Jon at papertrails.com. I'd be happy to help. Like Chris said, we're both still kind of learning, but I think we've come a long way from where we started. So I'd be happy to help any.
Yeah, just share our experience. We're happy to help anybody.
Marketers or small business owners on this journey.
Awesome. Well, good. Well, thank you, John, for joining me for another riveting episode. And
thank you for all the listeners out there. And yeah, we've been having fun doing this. So.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Small Business, Big World. This podcast is a production of Paper Trails. We are a payroll and HR company based in Kennebunk, Maine, and we serve small and mid-sized businesses across New England and the country. If you found this podcast helpful, don't forget to follow us at Papertrails Payroll across all social media platforms, and check us out at papertrails.com for more information. As a reminder, the views, opinions, and thoughts expressed are the hosts and guests alone. The material presented in this podcast is for general information purposes only and should not be considered legal or financial advice. By inviting this guest to our podcast, Paper Trails does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific individual, organization, product, or service.